listening to the Day by Day podcast for the second week of March, 2016. Welcome to the Day by Day podcast with me, Siobhan. This week, we're getting the most out of light, dusting off our togas, and honoring the fairer sex. Now let's get right to it. This week begins Daylight Saving Time, starting this Sunday at 2 a.m. local time. And yes, it is Daylight Saving Time. Saving, not savings. This is a practice around the world, but not everywhere, when the clock is adjusted ahead by an hour, allowing for an extra hour of daylight during the spring and summer months. Clock shifts are usually scheduled near a weekend midnight to lessen disruption to weekday schedules. It is currently only observed in 70 countries, most common in Europe and North America. The rationale behind Daylight Saving Time is that people will begin and complete daily work routines an hour earlier, and they will have available to them an extra hour of daylight after their workday activities. Some believe that Daylight Saving Time is an out-of-date practice because people do not live their life according to daylight as they once did before industrialization. Societies have been adjusting their daytimes since ancient times. Modern Daylight Saving Time was first proposed in 1895 by George Hudson, a New Zealand entomologist. But some regard Benjamin Franklin as having first conceived of the idea when he jokingly suggested that Parisians should wake up earlier to enjoy the sunshine and use fewer candles when he wrote a satire in 1784 called An Economical Project for Diminishing the Cost of Light. April 30th, 1916, Germany and its World War I ally, Austria-Hungary, first adopted Daylight Saving Time in order to conserve coal during the war. Many other countries followed suit, including the United States in 1918. Following World War I, many countries abandoned the practice and only instituted it from time to time, including during World War II. It was widely adopted in the 70s during the 1970s energy crisis. Daylight Saving Time practices have been repealed and adjusted since then. More recently, in 2007, most of the United States and Canada began to observe Daylight Saving Time from the second Sunday in March to the first Sunday in November, almost two-thirds of the year. Previously, from 1987 through 2006, the start and end dates were the first Sunday in April and the last Sunday in October. Only a minority of the world's population uses Daylight Saving Time because most of Asia and Africa do not observe it. It is not generally observed near the equator, where sunrise times do not vary enough to justify it. A recent study out of Finland shows that overall rates of stroke are 8% higher in the 2 days following Daylight Saving Time switch. Cancer victims were 25% more likely to have a stroke during that time, and people over 65 were 20% more likely to have a stroke. A 2012 study shows that the Monday and Tuesday following Daylight Saving Time have a 10% increase in heart attacks. Personally, I love the switch to Daylight Saving Time, and I think we should be on Daylight Saving Time year-round. 288-466-4709384505059402841174521408174505096446229489. March 14th is Pi Day. Not the kind of pie you eat, though that can be incorporated into your celebration, but pi, as in the mathematical constant. The first official Pi Day was celebrated in 1988 at the San Francisco Exploratorium and organized by Larry Shaw, a physicist there. Pi Day is often celebrated by eating various types of pies, which are round and related to the mathematical constant pi, sometimes by throwing pies, and discussing the significance of pi, but not the dessert. MIT has often sent out their application decision letters to arrive on March 14th. Starting in 2012, MIT has announced it will post those decisions privately online on Pi Day at exactly 6:28 p.m., which they have called Tau time, to honor the rival numbers pi and tau exactly. Tau is another mathematical constant, which I'm not even going to try to explain because it's beyond my comprehension. Princeton, New Jersey hosts numerous events in a combined celebration of Pi Day and Albert Einstein's birthday, which is also March 14th. They also hold an annual Einstein Look-alike contest. This year's Pi Day is significant because the date, including the year, 31416, is the value of pi rounded to 4 decimal places, so it would be 3.1416. So what is pi? If you don't remember from your days of middle school geometry, let me refresh your memory. Pi is 3.14, the ratio of a circle's circumference to its diameter. It has been represented by the Greek letter since the 18th century. Since it is an irrational number, it cannot be expressed as an exact fraction. Its decimal representation never ends and never settles into a permanent repeating pattern. Attempts to memorize the value of pi with increasing precision have led to records of over 67,000 digits. So, on this Pi Day, do something a bit geeky. See how many digits in pi you can memorize, discuss the implications of pi, or just go out and eat a piece of pie. I know how I'm going to celebrate. Earth Hour is a worldwide movement for the planet organized by the Worldwide Fund for Nature, or WWF. They also go by the World Wildlife Fund. This year's Earth Hour will be on Saturday, March 19th from 8:30 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. during participants' local time. The worldwide annual event, which began in 2007, encourages individuals, communities, households, and businesses to turn off their non-essential lights for 1 hour as a symbol of their commitment to the planet. In March 2007, Sydney, Australia participated in the first Earth Hour. In October of the same year, San Francisco held its own Earth Hour called Lights Out. San Francisco then decided to get on board with the next Earth Hour being held in March 2008. And in 2008, 400 cities in 35 countries participated in Earth Hour. That's a huge increase from just 2 cities on different sides of the planet to 35 countries in just 1 year. Landmarks from the Sydney Opera House to the Roman Colosseum to the Empire State Building to the Golden Gate Bridge went dark during Earth Hour. Last year's Earth Hour event saw over 170 countries and territories with more than 1,200 landmarks in participation. A 2014 study found that the events reduced electricity consumption an average of 4%. While the effect on the environment is rather small, the message is heard loud and clear around the world. In order to see longer-lasting results, energy consumption needs to be reduced overall. Visit earthhour.org to find out ways you can get involved. You can get a starter kit and track Earth Hour events around the world. This week has several ancient Roman holidays. They are Mamuralia, Liberalia, and Quinquatria. Ancient Romans had many holidays and observances involving their gods and various superstitions. The entire month of March is meant to honor the god Mars. Mamuralia is observed on March 14th, the day before what is known as the Ides of March, which was the official beginning of the Roman New Year. Traditionally, on Mamuralia, an old man wearing animal skins was beaten ritually with sticks and driven out of town. There are a couple possible explanations for the origin of this holiday. In one, a smith named Mamurius was run out of the city because the shields he had made for the Roman soldiers did not protect them. Mamuralia recreates this event. Another explanation states that Mamurius represents the old year and must be driven away prior to the first full moon of the Roman New Year. This holiday is unusual because no other Roman holiday falls on an even-numbered day. Next up would be Liberalia, which was held on March 17th and was a festival to the gods Liber and Libera. This day was essentially a coming-of-age celebration for boys. On this day, boys who were about 14 to 16 would give up their toga praetexta, which was decorated with a purple border, and assume the toga virilis, the manly gown, which was all white, and they would declare their adulthood. Their fathers took them to the Forum in Rome and presented them as adults and citizens. During this festival, the boys removed bolle charms, which had protected them in youth, from around their necks and offered them to the household gods. Quinquatras was held in honor of the god Mars and goddess Minerva. It was originally celebrated on March 19th and was eventually extended into a 5-day festival called Quinquatria. This festival was celebrated in commemoration of the birthday of Minerva, and it was sacred to Minerva because her temple on the Aventine was consecrated on that day. Sacrifices were offered to Minerva. She was the goddess of war, as well as wisdom, arts and crafts, dyeing, as in coloring fabrics, science and trade, and patroness of trumpet players. She was also the patroness of scholars and pedagogues who enjoyed a holiday at the same time, with the pupils giving their pedagogues gifts dedicated to Minerva at the close of the festival.
I am woman, hear me roar, in numbers too big to ignore, and I know too.
Speaking of women who seem to do it all, March is Women's History Month. This is an annual observance in the US, Australia, and the UK that highlights the contributions of women to events in history and contemporary society. It corresponds with International Women's Day, which was last week on March 8th. It has been observed in the US since 1987 with a different theme every year. This year's theme is Working to Form a More Perfect Union, honoring women in public service and government. Australia has celebrated Women's History Month since the year 2000, and the UK since 2011. But it may be defunct in the UK as there is little information available about the celebration there. Women's History Month is a celebration of women's contributions to history, culture, and society. This can be celebrated regardless of what country you live in, since women have contributed to every culture throughout all of history. Last week, I remember much was made of International Women's Day. Sadly, little has been made of Women's History Month. In doing research for this podcast, with the exception of the National Women's History Project, I have not seen many websites that are updated and have not been updated for several years, and I have not heard any mention of this month in popular culture. To learn more about Women's History Month and to see the list of this year's honorees, visit the National Women's History Project at nwhp.org. So that's it for this week. I'll be back next week. Until then, remember to make each day count.